Okay, so everything's had a chance to dry. You can see the cockpit with the seats and the instrument panel. So we're going to put this aside. When it comes to the wings, let's see. We're going to have to skip around a little bit on the instruction sheets. So moving on to step 3, you can see the formation of the wings. And the wings are already put together and glued. And what we got to do is we got to take this color off. So that was step 3. Step 4, there are more of the bulkheads that are going to go into the fuselage. And then it goes down to step 5. You can see how the halves of the fuselage are going to go together. But what I'm going to need to do is we're going to need to skip ahead. Let's see, where is the... we need to skip ahead to part 8, where we can get to the tail fin. So that looks like, let's see, there's a couple of small pieces that are going to go on. These little side wings, we got to clean those up. All right, so what else is going to go on? We need 8C. And I think it looks like this part right here. Yeah, this is part 8. So I'm wondering if there's 2 or just 1. Looks like there's just 1. A little bit of flash over there. So what I'm going to do is we're going to glue it, and then I'm going to clamp these sections together. So why don't we go ahead and we're going to put some glue on. And let's put the fin, or the rudder. I like to have the rudder. I'm sure it's not the rudder, but anyway. Okay, so as for these little parts that are going to go on to the sides, there's a little bit of flash that I want to take care of. That looks good. There's a little line right here, so I'm wondering if that's where it's going to go. Man, this is a tough piece to get on. And we're going to have to let that dry for a minute before we can turn it over and do the other side. Let's get the other one ready. Make sure there's no flash on the end. See, eventually this is going to go like this. All right, I don't want to push it. Let's leave it like that. Leave that to dry. All right, so this had a chance to dry. And I got to tell you, these little wings on the side were a nightmare to get to stay on. I came close to just saying to hell with it, not even putting them on. But they had some time to dry. So the tail fin is all set to put on the fuselage. So I was thinking we should go ahead and put the pieces on, and then we can prep it to paint. Now, when we're looking at step 1 was the cockpit. Step 2, let me see. Step 2 was the landing gear. Now there is, you can see that little nub over there, and we actually put a light. It's going to go right on there. So let's put a little drop of super glue. know if you can actually see that. All right, so we got 1, step 2, and with step 2, the bottom of the fuselage, we actually put in the landing gear, but we're going to hold off on that for now because we're going to have to paint it. Step 3, we do the wings, and you can see these are all set. Now, step 4 is interesting because step 4, there are a couple of bulkheads that are going to go into the cockpit area, but this is actually going to be for the instrument panels. So one's going to go in the front and one's going to go in the back, and we're going to put the instrument panels silver, and then we're going to put the decals on, then we're going to put them in, but we're going to do that after we paint the fuselage. We're going to do that after we get done painting. So that's part 4, because step 5, they want us to put the fuselage together and glue it. Glue the nose cone on and then start putting the landing gear on. But we're going to hold off on that because when we paint the fuselage, we're going to do it in different halves. We're not going to do it all at once. We can't really because we have too many pieces we have to add on later. Step 6 is the cockpit windows. And again, we're going to airbrush. Let me get the windows. The frames, we're going to actually airbrush the frames before we put the glass in. So that'll be all set. That's step 6. Step 7, this is where we come into a problem. Because I noticed for the first time in the kit that we're missing a piece. And of all the pieces that we needed, this is one of the important ones. There are these 2 panels that go on the sides of the back. Where the wing is. And you can see this is piece number, looks like 16 or 15. And this goes like this. Now you do have the option to open them, and they've got a little piston that you can put in. But the problem with this is that we're missing this piece. Now let me tell you my idea. We could do one of 2 things. We can fill this in with the putty, and we can paint it, or because I'm going to light the model, let me show you guys my idea. What I was thinking is hollowing this part out and then sliding this inside and pushing it down inside of the plane. And then when we need to remove the batteries, we can take it out again. So it would be going in like this, and with the switch that'll power the lights. But we're going to have to do it where we can remove it. So I'm thinking if we put it in at an angle, we'll be able to put it in that way. Because I was wondering where we were going to put this, and this kind of fell into my lap with the idea because this panel is missing. So we can glue that one on and we can paint it into place. All right, so that piece is going to be permanently glued in, so we're not going to open it. And again, I'm thinking we can hollow this out and we can actually put the battery pack in. Okay, the other piece is missing, so we really don't have a choice. Now the other part, part 8, when we were working with the tail, and the tail is all set and it's ready to glue onto the fuselage, we also have 2 parts. Let me show you guys that need to be glued. So we have part 18, and there should be 2 of those. And you can see someone already started to paint them. And we have parts 20 and 21. That's good. And how about this one? There's some right there. You can see it's going to go along this spine right here. So why don't we try to... And let's see if this will hold. make sure that that's nice and straight. All right, and when it comes to the landing gear, we're going to paint that, and we're going to have the doors open. Again, the doors we can paint at a later time. The bombs, when it comes to the bombs, it's really not going to be hard. The biggest issue with the bombs is going to be the painting. Now you can see the areas on the bottom of the fuselage. They're going to be holding the bombs, and there's a couple of strips that are going to go on. So we're going to go ahead and do this just so we get everything into place so we can spray paint or use the airbrush. So here's 19, and it looks like 19 is going to go on the inner part. So you see how the teeth are? They're designed to, when you move it, they both open up at the same time. But whoever started building this before filled in the holes. Let's do the inner one first. And right over here. There. You got to be careful that we don't go through the tops. Okay. So, let's see if we can get these pieces in there now. So, the larger one is going to go on the inner part, and we've got 2 of those. Yeah, that will be fully out. So we want to make sure that they're pointing parallel to the fuselage. That looks good. Just like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the other side. There. All right, now we got to do the outer ones. Now we'll get the... and that would be these right here. Okay, and again, the angle is going to be pointing forward. So let's put the glue. Looks good. And we'll do the same thing for this side. And we want to make sure that that one's facing forward too. Okay. That looks good. So this is part 6. And there's 2 of these. And the 2 bombs are going to go under the fuselage. It's going to attach to these. So presumably these will be the same color as the fuselage. So we go ahead and put these on. Then there are these things. What is that? 10 and 11. All right, let's put this part in. Now that went in relatively painless. Let's make sure this is straight. And we're going to put this one in. This is for the bombs on the other side. There. It's starting to look pretty formidable. All right, what else we need to glue on? Let's see. I guess technically we could put the bombs on and put the base coat on them. That was step 11. See pieces that are going to go on to the for the landing gear. And those would be 37. So we're going to keep the landing gear down. So let me put this in this way. And then I'll show you guys what I'm doing. And I'm going to do the same thing for this side. Alright, so you can see the landing gear doors are open. And we put the parts on the bottom. And you can see the little areas where all the bombs and the rockets are going to go. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the inside and along the edge. And this is going to go right here. In the meantime, let's check our tail fin. It looks pretty good. So we've got the missiles. Let's do the big one first. Okay, so everything had a chance to dry. You can see all the pieces that we put on. Starting to look pretty formidable. And we got the doors open for the landing gear. And the doors in the front. And we put on the mounts for the bombs and the missiles. And there's a couple of other pieces that are going to go on. So looking at the step 7, and again, we're jumping all over the place because I want to get all the pieces that we can on before we put the base coat on. So that brings me to one of the bombs. Let me show you. I put together one of the bombs, and I had we had done one of the bombs previous. And this is going to mount like this. But one of the things about this kit, it's kind of weird, because the mounts for the bombs, they actually have these little tabs on them. And when you look at the bombs, there's nothing. There is no tab at all. So there's a couple of things that I don't know if it was different molds for different kits that they combined. But anyway, I'm going to have to take the tabs off because they'll glue a little bit better. There'll be more surface area to glue. So let's go ahead and start putting the bombs together. The two halves go together, and what I like to do is I like to just clamp it. And we can put one on the fin, and let's put one on the back. Like that. So we're going to let that set for a little while. And then we can put the fins on. And we got a bunch of bombs to make. We've got 4 different types. So you can see the ones that we're going to be doing, and they all have different parts that go on. And we got these pieces that go on the back. Yeah, then we're going to clamp it and put that to the side. There are no tabs at all to guide these, so it's just kind of flat, and you got to put them together, hold them together, and then you've got to kind of clamp it to make sure that they stay in place. While the missiles are drying, there's going to be a couple of pieces that are going to go on the thrusters. The 26 looks like it's going to go on the top half of the fuselage. Alright, we'll put them on this side first. There, we want to make sure that this will fit in the middle. Yeah, and there'll be room for that. All right, so let's do the same for the top part, and those are going to be, I just saw it, parts 25C. So here are parts 25. Yeah. All right, and these are going to go onto the backs of the top. All right, so they're going to go like that. And when it comes to the sides, there are like these vents that are going to go on either side, and those are going to be, because it's going to go like this, so we got to glue the top section, so when we take the fuselage apart to paint, it'll go with it. At least that's the plan. You can see the section that we glued is the part that's going to go onto the top wing. All right, let's unclamp the larger bomb or missile. And what we're going to do now is we're going to put these fins on it. All right, let's check on these. So you can see these are pretty much all set. All right. So it looks like we've got 4 of them done. So I think that leaves. So we've got the other side now. I think this will be the B. And we've got these fins that need to go on them. And there's going to be fins that are going to go on the sides. So let's put some glue. All right, so we'll let those dry. Looks like we've got 4 left. And of course they have no fins. Actually, I think that's the end of the D tree. Yep, so that's everything's okay. So let's check on our fuselage. And you can see the parts that we had put on. Hopefully, like I said, when we take it apart, these will stay on. So when we paint, it'll be blended. So I think what we can go ahead now and do is we can actually take the nubs off and stop putting some of the bombs onto the bottom of the plane. So let me go ahead and separate it. Oh, good. So it held. we got our glue on. So now we're going to have to hold this here for a while for it to take. And I'm thinking about a quarter of it sticking out from the wing. There, I don't want to, you guys can see, we got that one on, so why don't we do the other side? Yeah, that looks pretty cool. Again, ever so gingerly until it has a chance to set. Yeah. Now before we do the other side, let me flip these over. And we'll put the fin onto the other side. And these will be finished. Let those dry, and those will be ready to put onto the plane. So let's do the other side. See, that looks pretty cool so far. And it looks like these are going to go like that. So the fins are going to be in an X formation. Let's see, is that going to stay? So we got the two missiles on the back. And we've only got the two left. Okay, so everything had some time to dry. And look at how cool that's starting to look. And what else did I do? Oh, I put the, I don't know if you can see the little hydraulic rod to open and close the landing gear doors on either side. So that's basically everything that's going to go on the bottom. We're going to do the landing gear after. So this is what we've done so far. We put the assembly for the fuselage, and we put the tail fin on, and we did the sides. You can see where the air intakes are. So we put these on, and looking at the bottom, that's where we really did most of the work. So let me see how I can hold this. You can see we've got the missiles. Let's see, we've actually got 4 or 5, so we've got 8 that we put on the plane on the bottom. We did the landing gear doors in the front. We did the landing gear doors on either side. And we put a couple of these little pieces on the belly of the plane, and then we put the rails that were kind of, I don't know what they're called, but they hold the bombs in place. So we got a lot done on the model where it comes to the assembly. To the back, and you can see where we got the they're kind of like fins or covers that cover up where the thrusters go. There's still a couple of pieces on either side that we're going to do, but we're going to do that after it's painted when we do the final assembly. But for now, we've got everything is in place, and what we got to do now is we got to start the process of painting the fuselage. So what we're going to do now is, let me show you. Let me get it. The colors we're going to use. So the base color is going to be the light tan. That's going to be the base for the whole plane. Then in certain areas we're going to put the darker tan, and then in certain places around that we're going to put the olive green. And I think it's going to end up looking pretty cool. I'm not going to paint the fuselage together like this. We're going to take it apart, because we still need to take it apart before the final assembly so we can put the wire for the lights and the lighting pack. We're going to put the lighting pack in here, and there's going to be a light over here, and we're going to put a flashing strobe light on the bottom, maybe over here, because I had seen one on the video. And I don't know if these are lights or not, but looking at the picture, it doesn't really look like a light, so I'm not sure what that is. I'm going to do some research on a video, and if that is a light, then maybe we can add a light to the sides over there. But for the most part, she's ready to paint. She's come a long way sitting in the box for 30 years. And whoever started it, I begin to wonder what they would think if they see it now. If you're watching and you're out there, I'll make it look good, don't worry. I like the camouflage. We're going to do the camouflage, and this is the first military model that I've ever done in this. When I was a kid, I did a P-38 Lightning from Monogram, and of course I just massacred it, so I don't really count that. I've shown you model kits that I have on the upcoming with the B-17 bomber, but that's a project in the future. And I've done ships and science fiction models, but I haven't done a military jet. So this is a first for me. So my friends, I hope you enjoyed the assembly of the fuselage. In the next video, what we're going to do is we're actually going to paint it. So we're going to break out the spray gun, and we're going to paint the entire thing. That includes the nose cone. I have the flat black that I want to put on there, and we've got flat black that's going to go on these sections where the cockpit is. And then the whole thing will be a base coat, and we'll put the camouflage on. So that's going to be a lot, because you can see there's going to be a lot of painting. I thought about putting everything, painting it before, adding it to the plane, but what I realized was I'd rather have plastic on plastic for the cement with the super glue, because paint on paint is not going to be as durable as plastic on plastic. So that's why I decided to put everything on first. And you can see all the things that we put on, the missiles, the bombs, the landing gear, doors. So like I said, we're going to take it apart when we paint it. So we'll remove the top, the bottom, we'll separate the fuselage halves, then we'll do the wings separately, and we'll do the back wings separately, but it's going to end up looking really cool. And we're going to use the LED, flashing LEDs to simulate the thrusters coming out of the back, so that's going to be pretty cool too. So my friends, thank you for this video. Thank you for watching. And when we move on, we'll be doing the painting. So look forward to that. That'll be out real soon.